In a week marked by significant political maneuvering and deepening divisions within both major parties, the Trump administration is navigating turbulent waters as it approaches a potential government shutdown. As of March 14, 2025, the Senate is poised to vote on a crucial funding bill aimed at averting a shutdown, a situation exacerbated by internal party conflicts and external pressures. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's unexpected decision to support the Republican-led funding bill has taken many Democrats by surprise. Just 1 day prior, Schumer had expressed staunch opposition to the GOP measure, emphasizing his belief that spending should be a bipartisan endeavor. However, in a dramatic reversal, Schumer stated there are no winners in a government shutdown, framing his choice as a necessary step to avoid chaos under former President Donald Trump's administration. By signaling his support, Schumer has increased the likelihood that the bill will pass, potentially clearing the 60-vote threshold required to overcome a filibuster. As the Senate prepares for this pivotal vote, the ramifications of a government shutdown loom large. Previous shutdowns have carried significant economic costs, and with the current administration's focus on revitalizing government efficiency and cutting spending, the stakes are particularly high. A recent Congressional Budget Office report indicated that the last notable shutdown in 2019 led to a decrease in real GDP, a trend that many lawmakers are eager to avoid. Meanwhile, President Trump is scheduled to address the Justice Department later today, likely reiterating his long-held claims of government weaponization against him and his allies. This appearance follows a federal judge's ruling in Maryland that requires the reinstatement of thousands of federal workers who were terminated under questionable circumstances, further complicating the administration's narrative on workforce efficiency. In a separate but equally critical development, Dr. Mehmet, Trump's nominee to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, is facing a Senate confirmation hearing today. Oz's testimony is expected to draw scrutiny regarding potential cuts to Medicaid and his advocacy for privatizing Medicare, issues that resonate deeply within the current political climate. Observers anticipate tough questions as Oz seeks to navigate the contentious landscape surrounding healthcare reform. Adding to the week's drama, Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, has launched an investigation into what she describes as politically motivated leaks from within the intelligence community. Gabbard's commitment to restoring trust in these agencies reflects broader concerns about politicization and accountability in government operations. On another front, the Trump administration is grappling with the fallout from its trade policies, particularly as farmers like Jennifer Gilkerson express their dismay over funding cuts to vital agricultural programs. These cuts, part of broader efforts to slash government spending, have left many producers anxious about their ability to maintain contracts with schools and food banks, an outcome that could have cascading effects on local economies. The week has also seen Democrats organizing town hall events in Republican-held districts, a strategic move aimed at addressing constituents' concerns directly. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin's comments highlight a growing frustration within the party as he accuses Republicans of avoiding accountability to their voters. As the Senate gears up for a crucial vote, and various factions within the Trump administration continue to clash over policy directions, the implications of these developments will undoubtedly shape the political landscape in the months ahead. With a potential government shutdown on the horizon and significant policy decisions being debated, all eyes will be on how both parties navigate the escalating tensions. The outcomes of these decisions could have lasting effects not only on governance but also on the upcoming electoral contests, making the stakes higher than ever. In a whirlwind of political maneuvering, President Donald Trump's administration is navigating a complex landscape of domestic and international challenges, ranging from government funding crises to escalating trade tensions. As the nation approaches a potential government shutdown, Trump has found himself in a surprising position, praising a Democratic leader to avert chaos. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer shocked many by announcing his support for a Republican-sponsored spending bill aimed at preventing a government shutdown. Trump, often a critic of the Democratic Party, took to Truth Social to commend Schumer, stating, "Congratulations to Chuck Schumer for doing the right thing. Took guts and courage. This unexpected alliance comes as the Senate prepares for procedural votes on the bill, which would extend current funding levels through September while proposing cuts to certain health and veterans programs. The urgency is palpable. The Senate must act swiftly to avoid a midnight deadline that could plunge the government into turmoil. Schumer, acknowledging the bill's flaws, emphasized the need to prioritize the American people's well-being over partisan politics, saying, "While the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse." His stance has drawn criticism from some Democrats, yet it may pave the way for a bipartisan resolution. Amid these domestic developments, Trump's foreign policy also reflects a mix of assertiveness and unpredictability. The president recently called for a ceasefire in Ukraine, asserting that millions of people are needlessly dead due to the ongoing conflict. He urged Russian President Vladimir Putin to agree to a 30-day ceasefire proposal, framing it as a path to peace. "There would have been no war if I were president," Trump claimed, suggesting that his leadership could have averted the conflict altogether. The situation remains precarious, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressing skepticism about Putin's intentions. As tensions rise internationally, Trump's trade policies are also under scrutiny. Just days ago, he threatened to impose a 200% tariff on European wines and spirits, a move that drew ire from both sides of the Atlantic. However, in a sudden reversal, Trump backed off his plan to double tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum after Ontario's premier suspended a surcharge on electricity exports to the U.S. This back-and-forth has left many investors and businesses on edge, as uncertainty surrounding trade policies contributes to a volatile stock market. An Ipsos poll revealed that public sentiment is shifting. 57% of Americans view Trump's economic strategies as erratic, with concerns that tariffs could exacerbate inflation. This comes on the heels of a report indicating a significant drop in consumer confidence, with the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index plummeting from 64.7 to 57.9, the lowest level since Trump's election. Compounding these challenges, Trump faces mounting pressure from the judiciary concerning his administration's workforce cuts. A federal judge ordered the reinstatement of thousands of terminated federal employees, arguing that the mass layoffs did not adhere to legal requirements for notice. This ruling reflects broader concerns about the administration's approach to governance and its impact on public sector employment. Meanwhile, Trump's interactions with high-profile figures like Elon Musk continue to draw attention. The Tesla CEO recently expressed a desire to invest heavily in Trump's political endeavors, signaling a potential alignment between corporate interests and the administration's agenda. However, Musk's controversial remarks regarding government workers have sparked backlash, particularly from labor unions. As the clock ticks down to the potential government shutdown, the interplay between domestic policies, international relations, and the evolving political landscape continues to shape Trump's second term. While the immediate focus remains on averting a shutdown, the implications of these developments will resonate far beyond the Capitol. Trump's administration seems poised for continued volatility as it navigates the complexities of governance in an increasingly divided political environment, leaving many to wonder how these dynamics will unfold in the months to come. In a dramatic series of political maneuvers, President Donald Trump faces a critical juncture as he prepares to deliver remarks at the Department of Justice, coinciding with a looming government shutdown. As tensions escalate, the atmosphere is charged with uncertainty over both domestic and international policies, including Trump's controversial approach to the Panama Canal and his ongoing trade war with China. Today, Trump will speak to the press outside the Department of Justice, marking his first visit to the Robert F. Kennedy Building since returning to office. This visit comes amid a backdrop of economic turmoil, with the stock market reacting negatively to the administration's recent tariff policies, which have introduced new levies on alcohol, steel, and aluminum imports. The president's tariffs have sparked fears of escalating tensions with trade partners, leading to retaliatory measures that threaten to stifle economic growth. Simultaneously, Senate leaders are gearing up for a crucial vote aimed at averting a government shutdown. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has publicly announced his support for a Republican-backed funding bill, a move that has surprised many within his party. Trump praised Schumer's decision, calling it a show of guts and courage on his social media platform Truth Social. This bipartisan cooperation could potentially stabilize government operations as the midnight deadline approaches. A non-pass would be a country destroyer. Approval will lead us to new heights, Trump noted, indicating his optimism about the implications of Schumer's support. In a separate but related development, the Trump administration has tasked the U.S. military with drafting plans to increase its presence in Panama with the stated goal of reclaiming the Panama Canal. This directive follows Trump's assertion during his recent address to Congress that his administration aims to enhance national security by regaining control over the strategic waterway which was handed over to Panama in 1999 under a treaty signed by President Jimmy Carter. Officials have indicated that strategies range from bolstering cooperation with Panamanian security forces to the more aggressive option of deploying U.S. troops to secure the canal by force if necessary, depending on the level of cooperation from Panama. While the U.S. military currently maintains a presence of around 200 troops in Panama, the Trump administration is reportedly concerned about China's growing influence in the region. Recent comments from Secretary of State Marco Rubio during his visit to Panama emphasized the unacceptable status quo regarding Chinese operations in the country. U.S. officials claim that a significant Chinese presence could jeopardize American shipping routes, particularly in times of conflict. In response, the Pentagon is evaluating various strategies, including potentially securing existing ports and establishing Army training camps in Panama. Amid these developments, public sentiment appears to be shifting. A recent CNN poll revealed that a majority of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of international relations, particularly concerning the Russia-Ukraine conflict. As economic pressures mount, concerns over inflation and job security are becoming increasingly pronounced, with consumer sentiment dropping significantly in March. Looking ahead, the ramifications of Trump's policies, both domestically and abroad, remain uncertain. The administration's approach to the Panama Canal could redefine U.S. foreign relations in Central America, while the outcome of the Senate vote to avert a government shutdown will have immediate implications for federal workers and government services. As the situation continues to evolve, all eyes will be on Washington, where political maneuvering and economic pressures are likely to shape the future of Trump's presidency. In the complex landscape of American politics and economics, the rhetoric surrounding tariffs has become a focal point for leaders and business executives alike. As the Trump administration navigates its second term, a palpable tension exists between public assurances of economic stability and private concerns over the impact of tariffs on the broader business climate. While CEOs publicly maintain a calm demeanor behind closed doors, many express discouragement about the economic policies being rolled out. The recent narratives emerging from the Trump administration reveal an intriguing duality. On one hand, the administration is signaling an acceptance of potential economic pain as a means to achieve long-term goals. "We may have short-term some little pain and people understand that there'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that," a senior official was quoted as saying. This willingness to embrace discomfort reflects a significant shift in strategy, moving away from the previous focus on immediate market performance to a broader, more systemic approach to American economic dominance. Yet the reality on the ground tells a different story. The stock market, once a favored barometer of success for Trump, is now showing signs of volatility, leading to increased fears of an impending recession. Analysts are grappling with the implications of a potential downturn, as increasing tariffs and trade policies are likely to create long-term disruptions. "We don't know where the bottom is," remarked one market analyst, highlighting the uncertainty that now permeates Wall Street. The administration's approach appears to be a blend of traditional economics and a more confrontational geopolitical strategy. Some experts suggest that the current tariff policies are less about economic efficiency and more about asserting power. The concept of the Mar-a-Lago Accord has emerged in discussions, though its specifics remain vague. The idea posits that the U.S. could form alliances with other nations to collectively manage the value of the dollar while simultaneously imposing tariffs to protect domestic industries. However, skepticism abounds regarding the feasibility of such an accord, especially given the unpredictable nature of international relations and economic interdependencies. As the administration pushes forward, internal factions continue to vie for influence, creating an atmosphere rife with conflicting strategies and policies. The national populists, techno-libertarians, and traditional Republicans each offer differing visions for America's economic future, contributing to a chaotic policymaking environment. Gillian Tett, an economist and anthropologist, notes that while these factions are engaged in a struggle for coherence, there is a persistent undercurrent of a desire to re-engineer the global financial system. This ambition, however, is fraught with risk, particularly as retaliatory measures from trading partners begin to materialize. The looming question is how these policies will shape the U.S. economy in the short and long term. While the administration frames its actions as a necessary detoxification from an over-reliance on foreign goods and financialization, the potential for severe economic repercussions is significant. The suggestion that the economy might need to undergo a period of pain to emerge stronger raises alarms among economists who caution that the risks of a recession could outweigh the intended benefits of such a strategy. As the landscape continues to evolve, the response from the business community remains critical. CEOs may publicly project confidence, but private conversations reveal a more complex picture characterized by concerns over the unpredictability of tariffs and the broader economic implications. In this environment, the ability to navigate uncertainty will be paramount for companies looking to adapt to the changing economic realities. Looking ahead, the balance between leveraging power through tariffs and maintaining stable economic growth will be a crucial test for the Trump administration. The coming months will likely reveal whether this approach can deliver on its promises or if it will lead to further entrenchment of economic challenges. As businesses brace for the impacts, the question remains: can the U.S. successfully detox its economy without succumbing to the chaotic forces it seeks to control? The answer may define the contours of American economic policy for years to come. In a striking development from the Trump administration, the White House has directed the U.S. military to formulate strategic options aimed at increasing American influence over the Panama Canal. This initiative follows President Donald Trump's recent assertion during a joint address to Congress that his administration intends to reclaim the canal, a statement that has left many questions regarding its implications and feasibility. According to officials familiar with the planning, the U.S. Southern Command is exploring various strategies that range from strengthening partnerships with Panamanian security forces to the more contentious option of deploying U.S. troops to seize control of the waterway. The extent to which military force might be used will largely depend on the willingness of Panamanian authorities to collaborate with the U.S. in this endeavor. The overarching goal is to curb China's growing influence in the region, particularly concerning access to the canal, which is strategically vital for American shipping and military operations. In recent years, the Panama Canal has been a focal point of geopolitical tensions, particularly as China has expanded its economic presence in the region. Both Panama and Chinese officials have denied any allegations of foreign interference, asserting that the canal's neutrality is constitutionally guaranteed. However, U.S. officials have voiced concerns that a significant Chinese presence could jeopardize American interests in the event of conflict, potentially restricting access to this critical global trade route. The Trump administration's plans come in the wake of heightened military discussions and preparations. U.S. Southern Command's Commander Admiral Alvin Halsey has reportedly briefed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on draft strategies, with Hegseth expected to visit Panama next month. Despite the serious consideration of military options, officials caution that a full-scale invasion is unlikely and would only be contemplated if increased American military presence fails to meet strategic objectives. Historically, the Panama Canal has been a contentious issue between the U.S. and Panama since its construction in the early 20th century. Control of the canal was handed over to Panama in 1999 following a treaty signed during the Carter administration. Since then, the U.S. has maintained a military presence in the region, but Trump's latest directives suggest a potential pivot back towards a more interventionist approach reminiscent of earlier U.S. foreign policy. The implications of these developments extend beyond military maneuvers. They strike at the heart of U.S.-China relations, particularly as the latter has been accused of using coercive tactics to advance its Belt and Road Initiative in Panama. The U.S. has reacted to this perceived encroachment with a series of diplomatic and military strategies aimed at reasserting its influence, including recent investments by American firms in Panamanian ports. As the situation unfolds, the response from Panama will be critical. The Panamanian government has already rebuffed claims of ceding control to China, insisting on its sovereignty over the canal. The dynamics of U.S.-Panama relations, particularly under the Trump administration's renewed focus, will likely evolve as these military options are considered and debated. In conclusion, the Trump administration's push to reclaim the Panama Canal underscores a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy, reflecting broader concerns about national security and global influence. The coming months will reveal whether these plans will materialize and how they will redefine the United States' role in Central America amidst growing geopolitical tensions. As both the U.S. and China vie for strategic footholds in the region, the future of the Panama Canal remains a pivotal point of contention on the international stage. In the lead up to the International Olympic Committee (IOC) presidential election, Juan Antonio Samaranch, a prominent candidate for the position, has underscored the significance of diplomatic engagement with U.S. President Donald Trump. In an interview with the Associated Press, Samaranch emphasized that establishing a connection with the American leader should be a top priority for the next IOC president, particularly as the organization gears up for the highly anticipated 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. It has to be a priority, Samaranch stated, highlighting the United States' pivotal role in the global sports landscape. He noted that the upcoming Olympics will serve as a critical event for the IOC, with 7 candidates vying for the support of approximately 100 IOC members during the election scheduled near ancient Olympia, Greece. Samaranch's call for direct dialogue with Trump comes in the wake of the president's ambitious agenda, which includes major milestones like the 250th anniversary of U.S. independence and the 2026 FIFA World Cup, along with the LA Summer Games. Samaranch, who has personal ties to the United States through his education and professional life, expressed a keen understanding of the importance of American involvement in international sports. America loves sports, America loves the Olympics, he remarked, framing the event as an opportunity for the U.S. to showcase its identity on a global stage. The Olympic Games, along with the World Cup, promise to attract hundreds of millions of viewers, emphasizing their stature as unifying events that transcend national boundaries. The IOC's diplomatic endeavors could be further complicated by the political landscape, particularly in light of Trump's controversial relationships with various countries. Samaranch stressed the importance of inclusivity at the Olympics, advocating for the participation of athletes from all 206 national Olympic committees, including teams from nations with which Trump has had tense interactions. He reaffirmed the IOC's commitment to being a beam of hope for humanity, asserting that the organization must provide a common platform for athletes from diverse backgrounds. Throughout his campaign, Samaranch has highlighted the need for neutrality in the IOC's operations, reflecting his extensive experience navigating complex political environments. He articulated the necessity for the IOC to refrain from aligning too closely with any specific ideology or political system, stating, "If we lean toward one particular way of life, Western or Eastern or North American, game over." This perspective resonates with the IOC's historical role as a facilitator of international cooperation and goodwill. Samaranch's diplomatic approach aligns with the IOC's previous engagements with global organizations, including the United Nations, particularly during contentious times such as the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. He acknowledged the challenges faced by international bodies like the WHO, which have experienced funding cuts under the Trump administration, while simultaneously advocating for a robust global health organization. In addition to diplomatic initiatives, Samaranch's platform includes progressive reforms aimed at modernizing the IOC. He proposed relaxing restrictions on athletes sharing their Olympic performances on social media, arguing that increased visibility for athletes could enhance both their individual profiles and the overall ratings of the Games. Furthermore, he advocates for the protection of women's sports while navigating the complexities surrounding transgender athletes. As the IOC prepares for its leadership transition, Samaranch's vision reflects a blend of traditional Olympic values and contemporary challenges. His proactive stance on diplomacy with the Trump administration could signal a shift in how the IOC engages with global politics, particularly as it gears up for the Los Angeles Olympics. Looking ahead, the IOC's ability to navigate the evolving political landscape while maintaining its core mission of promoting peace and unity through sports will be paramount. The upcoming presidential election not only determines the leadership of the IOC but also sets the tone for the organization's future in an increasingly complex geopolitical environment. As the world anticipates the 2028 Games, the question remains: how will the new leadership harness the power of sport to foster diplomacy and inclusivity on a global scale?